One of the biggest Christmas songs ever recorded just survived a $20 million copyright lawsuit, and the judge who dismissed it went one step further by ordering the plaintiffs to pay Mariah Carey's legal bills. What separates a legitimate copyright claim from one that wastes everyone's time becomes crystal clear in this ruling, and the sanctions handed down reveal exactly how federal judges respond when lawsuits cross the line into frivolous territory. What Judge Monica Ramirez-Almadani decided, why the plaintiffs' case fell apart under legal scrutiny, and what comes next if they choose to appeal are all covered here. A lawsuit landed in California federal court during November 2023, claiming Mariah Carey's 1994 holiday anthem had copied a 1989 country song that carried the exact same title. Andy Stone, who performs under the stage name Vince Vance, teamed up with Troy Powers to file the claim, naming Carey, her co-writer Walter Afanasieff, and the music companies behind the song as defendants. $20 million minimum. That's what Stone and Powers demanded in damages, making their ask anything but modest. Their first attempt at this case came in June 2022, when they filed an earlier version of the same lawsuit, before voluntarily dismissing it that November. Fast forward 5 months, and they refiled in California with that eye-popping $20 million figure attached to their complaint. Sharing the title "All I Want for Christmas Is You" formed the foundation of Stone and Powers' argument that Carey's version had lifted from theirs. Her 1994 hit allegedly copied what they described as a, quote, unique linguistic structure from their 1989 track, and they built their case around the claim that Carey had almost certainly heard their song before writing hers, given the 5-year gap between the two releases. Here's where context becomes important. A 2022 report counted 177 different works registered under this exact title in the U.S. Copyright Office database. Calling something unique when 177 versions exist made the structure argument harder to defend from day one. But Stone and Powers pushed ahead anyway. The judge's response came down harder than they probably expected. March 19, 2025, brought the lawsuit to an abrupt end when U.S. District Judge Monica Ramirez-Almadani granted summary judgment for Mariah Carey and Walter Afanasieff, which means she examined the evidence and concluded no factual dispute existed that would justify putting this case in front of a jury. Before the plaintiffs could even present their arguments at trial, they lost. Substantial similarity serves as the critical standard in copyright cases, and that's where the plaintiffs' claim collapsed. Arguing that two songs feel similar or share a theme won't win your case. You need to prove one actually copied protected elements from the other in ways that matter under copyright law. Expert analysis supported what Judge Almadani found, which was that any overlaps between the two songs came down to common Christmas themes and cliches used in completely different musical arrangements. Love during the holidays, wanting togetherness, festive imagery, these elements show up in countless Christmas songs because nobody can own them, making them functionally equivalent to public domain ideas that anyone can use. Dismissing the case didn't satisfy Judge Almadani completely, though, and what she added next showed exactly how the plaintiffs' legal strategy had backfired on them. Adding sanctions to the dismissal meant the court imposed penalties for wasting its time with filings that failed to meet even basic legal standards, and the level of judicial frustration became clear in the judge's language. The Associated Press reported Judge Almadani's characterization of the plaintiffs' filings as, quote, vague and incomprehensible mixtures of assertions, opinions, and irrelevant evidence, while Reuters described her discovery of a litany of irrelevant and unsupported factual assertions when explaining why sanctions needed to be imposed. Breaking that down for anyone outside the legal profession, the court wasn't merely saying the plaintiffs lost on the merits of their copyright claim, but that their lawyers submitted documents that never should have been filed in a federal court in the first place. Federal judges don't hand down that kind of sharp rebuke without serious justification, and the financial consequences arrived immediately after the ruling. Ordering the plaintiffs and their attorneys to pay at least part of Mariah Carey's legal fees transformed what started as a $20 million demand into a 6-figure liability, heading in the opposite direction. On April 3, 2025, Carey's legal team filed a motion seeking $185,602.30 in attorney fees, according to Reuters, representing her along with Sony and Universal entities connected to the song. Defending against a lawsuit, the judge ultimately found meritless cost that much money. Court documents obtained by entertainment outlets also placed the sanctions amount at roughly $92,303, though finalizing these numbers still requires additional court filings, since the process for determining final payment amounts continues. Stone and Powers walked into this case seeking millions and walked out potentially owing hundreds of thousands, a complete reversal that demonstrates what happens when you file weak copyright claims against major artists. December timing explains why you're hearing about a lawsuit that got dismissed 9 months ago back in March. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You doesn't just hit streaming charts every December, it absolutely dominates them, becoming the soundtrack to millions of people's holidays and generating headlines simply by existing as a cultural phenomenon. Annual attention creates annual scrutiny, which means legal updates about the song catch the perfect wave of holiday media coverage when they break. Remember that Copyright Office figure showing 177 works sharing this exact title? That reinforces how common the phrase is across the entire music industry, not just Christmas songs. Anyone can use All I Want for Christmas Is You as a concept or title, but what Carey and Afanasieff actually created, the specific melody, production choices, vocal arrangements, and musical composition, that's what copyright law protects. Confusing a common phrase with a protectable work became the plaintiff's central mistake, and Judge Al-Madani made that distinction abundantly clear in her ruling. Disappointment with the ruling led the plaintiff's attorney to tell reporters he was considering whether to file an appeal, which could drag this case through the appellate courts for months, or potentially longer if they decide to move forward. Starting from a position where you lost on summary judgment creates serious problems for any appeal attempt though, because appellate courts typically give substantial deference to trial court rulings that find no factual dispute worth examining at trial. Determining exactly how much Stone and Powers will pay in fees and sanctions still needs to be finalized, requiring additional court filings and potentially another hearing to settle those final numbers. Carey comes out of this situation with a complete victory. Dismissed case, full judicial support in the written opinion, and a pending motion to recover every dollar it cost to defend against a lawsuit that lacked legal merit from the start. How copyright law actually functions in music becomes clear through this case, rather than how people commonly assume it works based on misconceptions. Nobody can own common themes, generic phrases, or the basic building blocks that define any musical genre, which means Christmas songs will always share Christmas imagery, and love songs will always use similar language about relationships and emotions. What matters under the law is whether one song copied the specific, original creative expression from another, and Judge Al-Madani's detailed ruling explained that didn't happen here. Mariah Carey's holiday anthem survived its legal challenge and will dominate streaming playlists again this December, while Andy Stone and Troy Powers face the real possibility of writing checks for hundreds of thousands of dollars to cover Carey's legal costs, instead of collecting the millions they originally sought. Holiday hits probably do attract more lawsuits during their annual December spike in attention and revenue streams, making them tempting targets for copyright claims. But this ruling demonstrates what happens when those claims can't meet the legal standards required to survive even the earliest stages of litigation. Drop your thoughts in the comments if you want more celebrity legal case breakdowns explained clearly without the legal jargon. And subscribe so you catch the next breakdown when it drops.